Hey everybody, it's Tater Tot time. I'm the Rapscallion. Today I'm going to show you 3 easy ways and 1 not so easy way to take your simple frozen tater tots and turn them into something special. Let's get started. First up, we've got the French onion soup tater tot. To start, we're going to add about 1/3 of a bag of frozen tater tots to a bowl. The reason I'm using 1/3 of a bag is because I do 4 variations and my family can only eat so many tater tots. I didn't want to waste a bunch. Feel free to adjust the recipes based on that. For those tater tots, I'm going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of a neutral oil. I'm using canola oil here. Next, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of cornstarch. We're going to mix the tots up with the cornstarch and the oil, and this is going to help ensure that we get a nice, crispy, crunchy exterior crust on the tater tots. You're going to see this trick repeated a few more times throughout this video, but I highly recommend giving it a shot. Next, we're going to add about 2 teaspoons of French onion soup/dip mix. This is just those packets you buy in the grocery store. We're going to shake all that up, get it nice and evenly distributed. Next, we'll pour those tots into a greased baking sheet and make sure they are evenly distributed. Next, we'll put the tots into a 425-degree oven for 18 to 20 minutes or until the tots are crisp. Obviously, you can use an air fryer. You may need to adjust the temp and the cooking time. And voila, your French onion soup tater tots are done. Feel free to add a little more salt if needed. Otherwise, you can enjoy. Number 2, we have the garlic Parmesan tater tot. So again, we'll start with another 1/3 bag of tater tots. We'll add another 1.5 teaspoons of a neutral oil. This time we will add 2 teaspoons of grated garlic and 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Then we'll add our teaspoon of cornstarch. Then we'll mix those tots around so that they are all evenly coated. Once again, put them on a greased baking sheet. Put them in a 425-degree oven for about 18 to 20 minutes or until they are crisp. Pull them out. And these tots are going to get some Parmesan cheese grated on top of them. Go ahead and do that. And when you're done, dig in. Number 3 is what I call the McDonald's tater tot. You'll see why. We've got another 1/3 bag of tater tots. This time we're going to add 2 tablespoons of beef broth. I use better than bouillon. You can use broth from a can or a box, or you could even use a bouillon cube if you like. Doesn't really matter. It is known that McDonald's soaks their French fries in beef broth before they fry them. That's where this little tip comes from. I think you're going to find it makes a huge difference. As you can see, we're shaking those tots around to get that broth evenly distributed. Then we're going to come back and add that 1.5 teaspoons of a neutral oil. Next, I'm adding some salt because I used a low sodium beef broth. If your beef broth has a lot of sodium, you probably don't need to add any more salt. Mixing it all up. And once again, I am adding a teaspoon of cornstarch. And I'm going to mix all that up again. We'll dump these tots onto a greased sheet tray. You'll notice some liquid this time around. That's totally fine. It will definitely cook off and you'll still have crisp tots. While we're still going to cook these at 425 degrees, it's likely you're going to need to keep them in there for an additional 5 to 10 minutes due to that extra liquid. Make sure they're crisp before you pull them out. Your McDonald's tots are ready to enjoy. Taste one. If it needs salt, add a little more. Otherwise, dig in. Finally, we've got these Nashville hot tater tots. They're really hot. They're really hot. I just ate one. I'm having a hard time talking. They take a couple extra steps, but they're not rocket science. You can still pull them off for a party or something. We are going to bread these tater tots and then deep fry them. So we're going to start with a half a cup of flour. To that, we're going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch. Next, we're going to add a spice mixture. This is 1 tablespoon each of chili powder, paprika, and Cajun seasoning. I'm using Tony Chachere's. And we'll mix that all together. In a separate bowl, we'll need about a cup of buttermilk. Then you're going to want to add about 3 tablespoons of hot sauce to that buttermilk. You can use whatever hot sauce you have on hand. I'm using a homemade version that a friend gave me. Go ahead and stir the buttermilk and hot sauce together till they're fully mixed. Next, you're going to want to set up your bowls of flour mixture and buttermilk mixture next to a wire rack set over either a baking sheet or a plate. And we're going to get ready to start breading and frying our tater tots. As you can see, I first submerge the tater tots in the flour mixture. Then I'm going to move them over to the buttermilk mixture, submerge them there, and then I'm going to bring them back into the flour mixture. From there, they're going to go onto the wire rack. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process with as many tater tots as I want to fry. Now we're going to need to get about 1 inch of frying oil, heating up to around 350 degrees. One trick I've learned, as you can see, is if you put popcorn kernels in the oil, they will pop once the oil hits around 350 degrees. I'm using canola oil, but feel free to use peanut oil or vegetable oil. Once the oil is at 350 degrees, we'll add our tots. I'm doing about 5 at a time, and I found it took about 6 minutes for them to reach temp and get fully cooked. You will want to flip them about halfway through. They're going to look deep red when they're done, likely from the hot sauce, paprika, chili powder. Again, it takes about 6 minutes to reach that point. And then we're going to repeat the process until all the tots are fried. Typically, there's a hot chili oil that you brush over the chicken when you're making Nashville hot chicken. We're going to do the same thing for these tots. So basically, I've added the same mixture of paprika, chili powder, and Cajun seasoning to about 1/4 cup of the frying oil that we had, and I'm mixing it up here. Again, that was a tablespoon each of chili powder, paprika, and Cajun seasoning. Finish the tots off by brushing chili oil all over them. Your Nashville hot tater tots are ready to enjoy.